welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana. Thanks again for watching. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Today is a fun one. It's kind of a Sephora haul, first impressions, mishmash of stuff because these are some new products and I wanted to get them out there. I will be using them further because I've not used them either, some of them at all, and some I've only used a handful of times. And I do like to get a better handle on things before I give you like my full unadulterated review. But I also like to get it out there because, you know, if you're thinking about it and like you can see, yeah, this is obviously a pass for me, then that's better. So, like I said, all full reviews will come later, but we're gonna jump on in because I have got some really exciting things to show you. I went crazy. My wallet does not like me. I got 4 very, in my opinion, pricey sunscreens from Sephora. I also got one other thing. I think this was like a full price mascara and then a few samples. So I will talk about those, but briefly. But we're just gonna jump in because these sunscreens need to get on my face and I need to tell you about them and we're just gonna do it. So if you're not already subscribed, do so below. It always helps, of course. And give it a big old like if you do enjoy it. Okay, so the first two that I'm going to be talking about are the Rose Inc Solar Power Luminous Serum SPF 30 serum, whatever. And then the Mara's Tea Kale Sunscreen Serum SPF 30. These are very similar in a lot of ways. That's why I thought they would be the best comparison. So I'll put one on one side of my face, the other on the other side. And then afterward, of course, I will wash all that off. And I'm going to be trying out this new, to me, brand, which is Soleil Toujours. I'm sorry, I don't speak French. I try. No, I don't actually. This is their Mineral Ally Daily Defense Sunscreen. And this is a tinted glow. And then this is their Mineral Ally Daily Defense not tinted. So I'll put those on one or either side of my face and kind of talk about those separately. So let's jump into the oil ones first. And as always, I have nothing on my face right now, no moisturizer, just a clean face. It's the morning. And as kind of, if you have not watched any of my other videos, my skin type is normal. It can get more oily, especially in my T-zone and in the summer. And in the winter, I would say it's just pretty much normal. I don't really have dry skin anymore. I used to, but I fixed it. I don't know why I use air quotes. I did fix it, but I will do a video on that upcoming because I think a few people have asked about that. So that's pretty much my skin type. Now, as a small aside, I do live in the South. So I live in North Carolina where it gets hot and humid. And that has definitely helped my skin kind of not be as dry. But that's not to say that everybody who lives in the South has like not dry skin. But it's definitely a factor. And even in the winter time, I feel like there's just more humidity in the air here. So I tend to not love super, super oily things because my skin doesn't need a ton of them. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm starting from. And I will always tell you, you know, what it's best for: dry, oily, normal skin, that kind of thing. So without further ado, for the second time, let's get in. We're going to start off with the Rose Inc. This is called the Solar Power Luminous SPF 30 Serum. Just before I apply this, I do want to show you kind of the packaging. It comes in a frosted glass bottle. Looks pretty much like all the Rose Inc ones. They have this kind of like rose tint to the color, which you can see through the glass. And then you twist the top of it off, and as you twist it, you can see that the top kind of pops up. And then you open it, and it has a dropper, which, spoiler alert, they're not my favorite. But then you take it out, and then you put it back in, press the top down, and that's how you get the product. They're trying to be cute, but not my favorite. And as I will be doing with all of the sunscreens today, I use my 1/4 teaspoon. A 1/4 teaspoon is used for your full face and neck. So when I'm doing a side-by-side comparison, I do like a half of this, and it's a rough estimate, but that's what you should do. So 1.5 pumps is about half. So I would say 3 pumps for your full face. So this retails for $46 for 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters. They also have a mini though, which is really cool because most brands, especially when it's a new product, they don't automatically come out with a mini until maybe it becomes popular. So that's cool. It's got SPF 30 with a PA rating of 3 pluses. It also has 14% zinc oxide. As far as their ingredients in it, it says it has marine plant oils and squalane. I would say that this one has a little bit less of the oils compared to the Mara one, which I will get to, but it definitely has oil in the ingredient list. And I don't think I mentioned it, but this is 100% mineral. There is no butylactyl salicylate, which some brands do for like a SPF enhancer. Me personally, I don't care about butylactyl salicylate, but if you do, this one does not have it in there. This one says that it's for all skin types, so I guess I see that a little bit more than the Mara one, which we'll get to again, sorry. And like I said before, it does have this kind of odd applicator, which I'm not a huge fan of. I just think that it encourages people to use less than they need to. It makes the packaging and the cost more expensive. It's just not necessary. Like, give me a pump and I'd be happy. But as far as what it looks like, so you can see I apply it in small thin layers, which is, if you've ever watched my channel, what I always do, especially with a mineral sunscreen. I found, and it is kind of proven, that it just works better if you apply it in small layers. And then you have a little bit less of a chance of having a white cast. That's not for everybody though. If you have darker skin types, some sunscreens are just gonna have a cast, especially with a higher zinc oxide concentration. But as you can see, I have a little bit of a cast. Like, this is the side without, this is the side with. This is not intolerable for me. Like, I would still use this. I would definitely have to put something over it, especially because it's so shiny. But as far as the cast goes, I'm not super disappointed with it. But I do want to mention, when sunscreens have this kind of like little bit of a cast, I definitely find that it encourages people to use less than they should. Like, I could have stopped at that first layer and been happy. That's actually where I would like to stop, just in terms of the oil and the cast. But you have to do at least the 1/4 teaspoon, in my case, 1/8 of a teaspoon, to really get the full and proper coverage. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're using it. But I've had it on for a few minutes and already the cast is really not that noticeable. I always have more of a cast, or like that I can see it in my eyebrows, of course, my hairline, which isn't bad today. And then I think my eyelids, for some reason, they just kind of hold the pigment there. But even on my neck, it's pretty much invisible. So that's pretty cool to see. All right, so now we're gonna jump into the other one, which is the Mara Sea Kale Sunscreen Serum SPF 30. Most beautiful, like one of the most beautiful packagings that I've seen. Okay, so the Mara Sea Kale Sunscreen Serum SPF 30. This retails for $52 for 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters. So it's the exact same as the Rose Ink, but it is $6 more. This one also has an SPF of 30 with a PA rating of 3 pluses, and pretty similar in the active ingredients. It's got 13.22% zinc oxide. So this one, I'm going to tell you, is mostly oils. The consistency is that of an oil, and if you look at the ingredient list, it's just one oil after the other. They do call out the blue sea kale, which they say is vitamin C rich, and is a marine plant extract. So very, very similar to the Rose Ink in a lot of ways. Super, super quick and easy. This one, they actually do say that it is for normal to dry skin, which I am so happy about, because so many times on the Sephora website, they're just like, oh, it's for everybody, because they want to sell it to everybody. I get that, but it's a lie. This one, if you have oily skin, unless you know that your skin likes oils, it's gonna be a lot. Like, my face is definitely glowy, but I will tell you, it has no cast whatsoever. And that is really exciting, especially because both of these are mineral sunscreens and they both have about the same amount of zinc oxide, and they don't have any kind of helper ingredients or hybrid active ingredients that could cancel out the white cast. So this one, if you're going to get one just based off of the castness of it, this one has no cast, whereas the Rose Ink has a little bit of a cast. And on the website, they say 2 to 3 pumps, which is probably accurate. If I'm measuring it out in my little teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon, we get 1, 2, 3. 3 is almost the proper amount. So I would really say like 4 pumps is the proper amount though. Now what do I do with this? All right, so in terms of how it looks and feels, it is an oil. Like, if your skin likes oils, if you know that you use oils in your skincare routine, this is gonna be perfect. You do not need a moisturizer. an oil or anything else beforehand, because it really does double as your oil and or oil moisturizer and your sunscreen. I actually really like it. And that's interesting because I do have more normal skin. It does get a little bit oilier in the summertime and in my T-zone, but it feels so nice on my skin. And it just feels like a really good base if I want a glowy look that day. If you want a matte look that day, probably not, but I don't find that it feels heavy on my face. I don't find that it's kind of irritating anything, but I will say it has quite a bit of citrus extracts in it. You can definitely smell it when you pump it out, when it's on your face. That doesn't bother my skin type, but a lot of citrus oils can be pretty sensitizing. So if you know that about your skin, this is a definite pass in that category. But I actually really like it. I think it would be beautiful under makeup. Of course, like I said, this is kind of more first impression, but I will be using it for the next few weeks and get a better handle on it and report back, of course. So that's kind of it for these two. I think they're very similar. I think the main difference is if you're looking for something really oil-based, that's what your skin likes, obviously the Mara side. If you don't really care about that and you just want something a little bit cheaper, I mean $6 cheaper, you would go with the Rose Inc side. Me personally, I'm definitely leaning more toward the Mara side. I just like the fact that it has no cast and I could wear it out if I want that glowy look. But I feel like these oils are going to soak into my skin a little bit, so I'm not really too worried about it being too glowy. One last thing about these, I know I'm talking a lot, but they're both 1 fluid ounce. You're gonna go through these pretty quickly if this is your only sunscreen. So keep that in mind. You know, they are Sephora brands, or not Sephora brands, but sold at Sephora, so they're, you know, pricier, but you're gonna go through them rather quickly. All right, it's time for the Soleil Toujours. The first one is the Mineral Ally Daily Face Defense Anti-Aging Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 60. So it comes in this very beautiful kind of, I feel like French Riviera retro packaging. It's got this blue top and then it's got a pump top. So I will be testing that on this side and then the other on the other side. So this retails for $58, but you do get a little bit more than the last two. You get 1.35 fluid ounces or 40 milliliters instead of 30. So it's $58 and the Mara was $52 and the Rose Inc was $46. So again, a few dollars more. This one is SPF 60 though, and you have 24% zinc oxide. So a pretty huge amount, like one of the highest I've ever seen. It does have a more fluid kind of nature to it. The consistency is not super thick or rich or creamy, which I like. It just makes it a lot easier to blend. This one has quite a few citrus extracts and it definitely has a scent to it, kind of reminding me of the Mara one a little bit, but not really intolerable, but something to keep in mind if that's not something your skin likes. It also has red algae extract, vitamin E, and vitamin C. And as an aside, like I always like to do these days, this one does have butylactol salicylate, which is an SPF enhancer. So if you consider that to be a chemical sunscreen or part of a chemical active ingredient, then this would be a hybrid. If that doesn't mean anything to you and you don't care, just consider it a mineral sunscreen. This one, I'm very happy to report though, is water resistant for 80 minutes, which is so exciting. I just don't find a lot of mineral sunscreens that can be water resistant. And that is something that kind of turns me off from a lot of mineral sunscreens because I am so active and I like to work out and be outside. I like to make sure that if I sweat, it's not going to just roll off my face. So that's very exciting. But as you can see, the downside is there's quite a considerable cast. My skin type is, I would say, light to medium. If I'm very pale, like in the winter, even then I wouldn't say I'm all the way light, but I can get up to light medium. In even like at my tannest, I can be a little bit closer to the medium side. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the cast. If you have a lighter skin tone than me, you might not have a cast. If you put on less than me, you might not have a cast. But it's something to consider, and I always try to put the correct amount on, especially when I'm on video telling you guys what to do, or I'm not telling you what to do, but you know, showing you a sunscreen. So this is what it looks like. The cast is not really that much worse than the Rose Inc one, and I've had way more casts on like other mineral sunscreens, so I'm not totally turned off by it, but this is not something I would leave the house with without putting makeup on over. So this is what it looks like. All right, our last of the four is the Soleil Toujours 50 Mineral Allied Daily Defense Sunscreen. All these other words, tinted glow. This is massive, massive. We're gonna shake and apply. Okay, so the Tinted Glow, this retails for the same price, $58, but it comes in 5 fluid ounces, which is insane. I've never seen something this big when it's not a body sunscreen. That's 145 milliliters, and it is SPF 50. This one has 12% zinc oxide. It also has squalane, vitamin E, and vitamin C. And once again, this one is water resistant for 80 minutes, which is super exciting. And just like the other one, this one also has butylloctyl salicylate. So if you consider that to be a chemical active ingredient, then this would be a hybrid. If that means nothing to you, keep using it as you just would use it. Okay, I didn't even use it all. I might have put a little bit too much in there, so I'm gonna stop at that amount. And I only, I kind of like left this forehead area. I didn't finish like the full application there because this is a lot. Oh my God. I don't know if I could ever wear this. This is, wow. Like this side is casty and the cast has not really dissipated. This side, I literally look like the Tin Man. Okay guys, this is clearly like, this is not sustainable. This is greasy. It's super high coverage. Like you can see on my neck and on my face just how much coverage it has. It's got a glow. It's got this golden bronzy glow, but it looks insane. Like I just don't have articulate words to describe what this looks like, what it feels like. I would never, ever in a million years wear this. Now, I feel like this is just kind of like a good way to demonstrate the sunscreens, but I'm gonna take it all off and I want to kind of use it in a way that maybe it could work because I feel like, again, this is just a demonstrative. It doesn't help because nobody would ever put this much on or wear it like this. So I'll be back. We're gonna try it in a more like nuanced way and see how that works. Okay, I'm back. What I did was I mixed them, like actually mix them. Put a pump of this in my hand, put a little bit of the Tinted Glow one, and mix them. It's giving me, you know, like a glowy tinted kind of sunscreen. It still has like a little bit of a cast, honestly. I don't like these. I actually really don't like these. I feel like that's insane that I would have to buy 2 $58 sunscreens to make it work. Obviously the one that's not tinted, if you have a lighter tone than me, it could work on its own. This, like, it's insane how makeup-y and like clownish this looked. I just don't understand it. I think you would have to use like this tiny small drop, which I just can't get down with because that encourages people to use just not enough sunscreen. I'm shocked. I really bought these thinking like these are gonna be so elegant, they're gonna be so beautiful, and I really don't like them. Now, does this look good? Yes, it looks great. But do I need to buy both of these to get the same effect? Absolutely not. If I use the Say one, I get that in pretty much the same with, I forget how much that costs, $36, maybe a little bit more. But you don't need to spend this much money to get this look and to have the coverage and like the SPF protection that you need. So these are actually, I'm really considering returning these because I'm just so unhappy with them. I don't return stuff ever because I like to have it in my collection. That way, if I need to review it or like compare it to something, I have it. But I can't see me ever using these, and they're just too expensive for me to not really like them at all. So, wow, shocking. Okay. So that's pretty much it with the review. I did want to just mention this mascara because I'm not going to apply it right now, but this is a apparently tubing mascara. It's the Double Wear by Estee Lauder Zero Smudge Lengthening Mascara. It does have this really beautiful packaging and it has a normal wand, like not the plastic bristles. I have used it once. I forgot that I was wearing it and I didn't even look when I removed it. It didn't smudge, I didn't get raccoon eyes, but I wasn't paying attention if it actually was tubing. So I can't really comment on that, but it will come in another video and I will be testing it. The other things that I got were free. This is just the Anastasia Beverly Hills Crystal Lip Gloss. It's just a clear lip gloss. It's really, really, really underwhelming. I don't think I'll wear it at all. And then I got this Skylar Vanilla Sky. This was free. So that's pretty much it. This Sephora haul was really about the sunscreens. I hope it gave you kind of a better look at these new sunscreens. Out of the four, the one that I would recommend, or I guess not recommend, but the one that I like the most, doesn't mean you will. If you don't like oils, then either the Rose Ink or the Mara probably won't work for you. But if you do, or if you don't mind that kind of delivery method, I love this one. I think it's so beautiful and I will continue to wear it. I like it better than the Supergoop ones. I just find it to be like a bit more elegant, and you are paying a lot, so why not get elegance? I think you know my thoughts on these Soleil Toujours. This looks beautiful right now, but I don't ever recommend mixing sunscreens. The only reason I mix these two is because they're by the same brand. They have very similar ingredients. They're both, I guess, mineral/hybrid, so I don't feel like they're gonna be necessarily like compromising the protection, but I don't usually recommend it. So I would be wary on buying both of these just to mix it. Just go get one that has, the glow that you want and the protection you want, instead of buying two overly priced ones. So I will continue to test them unless I return these two, because there's a very high probability that I do. But anyway, I hope this review helped. I'm sorry it's so long. I got a little chatty this morning, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.